Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around Thailand for you today, this Thursday, October 24th. Now, today, we will unfortunately be talking about some tragic incidents in the waters off of Phuket and in Indonesia. There will be some updates on the tropical storms that are ravaging Southeast Asia, and a little later, some more arrests were made in the infamous child trafficking scandal that is currently rocking Malaysia. But first, we'll start with our first story, which is coming out of Pattaya. Now, an intoxicated woman has flipped a car in Pattaya and has claimed heartache as the cause of the accident. A 29-year-old woman named Pantip, heavily intoxicated, flipped her car on a Pattaya overpass early yesterday morning. When questioned by police, she said, "It hurts in my heart," and was confused about how the accident happened. Yeah, no duh. Earlier in the evening, officers had escorted her to safety due to her drunken state, but she later drove and crashed. Rescue volunteers provided first aid, and police are now pursuing legal action after testing her blood alcohol content. The accident caused significant damage to her vehicle, but she only suffered minor injuries. Man, isn't that the way that it goes whenever these drunk driving accidents occurs? The damage and the chaos seems to affect everything else around the driver, who seems to come out unscathed. No excuses here. Like, yes, heartache, tragedy. We've all been there. Jesus. Like, I mean, that can't be an excuse for putting other people's lives in danger. What's weird about this story to me is that the police had already noticed her, said, "Hey, you're drunk. You need to go home, lady." And then still somehow she managed to get behind the wheel of a car. So not entirely sure what level of responsibility the police have in this incident, but surely she does. So tears be damned. We'll see what kind of punishment she will face in the end. We're moving on to our next story, which is in Phuket, and this is a sad one, unfortunately. Some tragic drownings in Phuket have claimed the lives of a boy and a British tourist. Now, two tragic drowning incidents occurred in Phuket on October 22nd, resulting in the deaths of a 5-year-old Chinese boy and a 43-year-old British tourist. Kowloon police confirmed that the young boy, identified as Jang Ji Jana, lost consciousness while swimming with his mother at a hotel pool near Kata Beach. Despite immediate CPR and hospital transport, the boy could not be revived. In a separate incident, a British tourist was pulled from the waters at Kata Beach around 4 p.m. by a bystander. Despite hospital efforts, he too was pronounced dead. Police are working with both embassies and withholding further details pending family notification. How did that happen? So, okay, you hear these kinds of stories, people swimming in the riptides, maybe against the advice of the authorities there. You see the red flags up, things like that. So not so surprising when it happens in the ocean. What is surprising is that this happened while the young boy drowned while his mother was in the same pool as him, ostensibly under her supervision. So pretty shocking stuff that happened just in a hotel beach, or a hotel near the beach, not actually in the waters over there. So be careful, everybody. It can happen quickly. I remember when I was growing up, we had some friends visiting us. We had a pool at my family home, and we had some friends visiting us, and there was a young boy who almost drowned in our family pool. We were all standing around the pool. We all just thought he was splashing around, having a little fun, before we realized, wait, he's not splashing around. He is, in fact, drowning, and we were able to save him. He was fine. But, man, it can happen in an instant. So if you've got kids who are, get the floaty devices out, make sure that they're safe at all times, because it can happen in an instant, and heart goes out to this poor family dealing with this tragedy. We're moving on to our next story, which is bringing us back to Bangkok. Now, a Bangkok drug gang, some suspects suspected to be in said drug gang, have fled after shooting at police. Dramatic. A Bangkok drug gang suspect is at large after firing 5 shots at police during a chase on October 22nd. The incident occurred in Siamese, Bangkok, where police apprehended 37-year-old Wutisak Tancharon, who was found with 160,000 methamphetamine pills and 1 kilogram of crystal meth in his car. That's a lot. The second suspect, described as a small, bald man wearing a black shirt and shorts, escaped. Bald shaming. Police are using drones in their manhunt, proceeding cautiously due to the fugitive being armed. Meanwhile, a related drug bust in Pattaya resulted in another arrest of another individual with 20,000 meth pills. So, Jesus. All right, we got Breaking Bad going on in Thailand. There are tons. Look, if you know anything about the drug trade in Thailand, it is that yaba, the methamphetamine, is the drug of choice and is used by many, many people around the country. And, where there is demand, there will be supply. This seems like a great effort by the police to crack down, find these guys, because that is a ton of that drug off the streets. If you know anything about it, it comes cheap, it comes easy, has an incredibly strong effect, devastates lives, okay? It is insanely addictive. So, hopefully the people are able to track this down. If you see any suspicious bald men carrying guns and methamphetamine, do let the police know, because he is wanted. And do be careful, because apparently he's armed and dangerous. Shooting at the police, this guy is going to have a bad time when he gets caught, I can imagine. So keep an eye out, people, and be careful. Don't do drugs. Moving on to our next story. So this is a crazy one, a little bit of a history lesson for you guys. We're going to talk about the Tak Bai massacre that occurred in southern Thailand in 2004. Now, police are rushing to arrest Tak Bai massacre suspects before the statute of limitations runs out. So National Police Chief Kitrat Panpet has issued an urgent directive to arrest all suspects involved in the 2004 Tak Bai massacre before the statute of limitations expires tomorrow, October 25th. The massacre, which resulted in over 80 deaths in Narathiwat province, has led to the identification of 14 suspects. 7, including high-ranking military officials, faced charges in Narathiwat, while another 8 were indicted in Pattaya. Police are intensifying efforts, conducting searches, and coordinating with Interpol. Some suspects have fled the country, and discussions about extending the statute of limitations are ongoing, though police remain focused on arrests within the legal time frame. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this was the result of a protest that erupted outside of a place where some suspects were being detained by the police. This was like 1,500 protesters, thereabouts. Police did a police thing, right? They cracked down on the protesters, water cannons, sticks, riot gear, the like. Then they shot into the air, bullets into the air. Then they shot at eye level, head level, and actually killed 7 people in the protest there. Then everybody's on the ground. They make them strip down to their skivvies and put them into transport to a detention facility, cram them in on top of each other, where about 78 of them suffocated and or died from organ collapse, was what I researched. So yes, this was a absolutely completely mishandled thing. No way the authorities should have behaved in this way. Strange to me, we're 20 years later, so statute of limitations does exist here, and in this case, it's coming down quickly. So I'm not sure if anybody knows anything to help, but this is an insanely tragic incident that really there was no excuse for. Some people facing justice, but certainly there were many more people involved in this, and the people down there still are looking for that justice. Moving on to some more standard Thaiger fare. We're heading to Kata Beach. Now, a Thai man has been arrested for stealing from a Russian couple at, Kata Beach. A Thai man, Sudachai, was arrested for stealing from a Russian couple at Kata Beach, I've said that too many times, Phuket, on October 18th. The couple had their belongings unattended while enjoying the beach when Sudachai took their items and fled on a motorcycle. Tisk tisk. The stolen goods included a gold iPhone 13 Pro Max, cash, credit cards, and a gold ring. Police tracked Sudachai to a rented room in Chalong where he confessed to the crime. They always do. Most of the stolen items were recovered, though some cash had already been spent. I wonder what it was spent on. The phone was traced to a local shop after being sold. Both Sudachai and an accomplice, Tom, are now facing legal proceedings. Yeah, pretty funny. I mean, come on, guys. We got GPS trackers and everything. Obviously, if you're resorting to thievery, you're not probably the brightest crayon in the box, the sharpest tool in the shed. And in this case, he was very quickly tracked down. Look, this is something like tourists on the beach, they do this all the time, and it's something I surely have been guilty of. Like, all right, I trust Thailand. it's safe. People don't typically steal. But it's, this is the kind of thing where the police do crack down quickly when tourists are affected, right? That's something this is the kind of news that they want out there. I'm happy to do my part in supporting that because, yes, if it's rare for things to be stolen, and in this case, a lot was stolen. There was tons of money in there, especially, you got your iPhones. That's, usually a month's rent for a lot of people. So, the police cracked down on it quickly, able to find him, quick investigation. Happy that couple was able to track down all of their stuff. Sure, they're out a little bit of money, but hey, you went viral. So, yes, kudos to the police, and I guess moral of the story, don't leave your stuff unattended, right? Like maybe leave one person back with the stuff while you dip in. I don't know. Your thoughts, people? I'm a little curious. Do you leave your stuff unattended in Thailand? Because I've done it before, but with a story like this, I'm probably going to rethink that strategy. Alfa Romeo says the last one. Mexican necktie. There it is. Yeah, sorry. I've been a little removed from my cartel lingo, so thank you for reminding me, Alfa Romeo. And Sing in My Car says, phones ain't cheap either. That's the truth, man. Look, 13 Pro Max, right? Like, that's easily... I wonder what he got for it. Like, selling it at a pawn shop quickly. Probably not going to get as much as you usually could if you were not in such a hurry. But, anyways, funny, man. Like, stealing phones is dangerous. Like, they can always track it down really quickly. Not sure. I don't want to give advice on how to avoid that. But I feel like I've seen in movies how to avoid that. But in any case, like I said, justice done. Case closed. All right, moving on, we have a happy story, a nice story for the end of the Thailand segment before we get into ASEAN. In Andaman, there will be a new international airport that is set to open by 2030. The Andaman International Airport in Phuket is set to open by 2030, with the project progressing well, according to the House Committee for Transportation. Located in the Kok Kloi and Loyang sub-districts, the airport will span over 7,300 rai, feature 2 runways, and accommodate 43 flights per hour. Woo! That's a lot. That'll serve 22.5 million passengers annually. Initially planned for a forest area, the project was relocated due to conservation concerns. Love to hear it. 20 million baht contract was signed for a feasibility study covering economic and environmental factors. The airport aims to alleviate pressure on Phuket Airport, which is nearing capacity. Good news, everybody! A new airport. That's like, okay, if you know anything about traveling to that area, what are your options? You got Samut Prakan, I believe. Koh Samui is it's a beautiful airport, but it's very expensive to fly into. So hopefully this new airport will be able to alleviate a lot of the traffic that Phuket faces, which is tons, and provide an alternative to get into the area that might be cheaper than Koh Samui. Interesting that they are expecting traffic of 22.5 million. I mean, I assume that's their capacity. I would be surprised if they reach those numbers that quickly, but in any case, glad to hear that they're prepared for it, at least. So, looks like it'll be nice. I'll be excited about that when that opens up. It'll give me an alternative to get down to those beautiful islands, because right now it's not so easy. They're wonderful to get to. I spent 6 months in Koh Samui when I got locked down at the beginning of the pandy. So I feel overly familiar with it, so I don't have a strong urge to get back. But I've been feeling the itch lately until I go to look at the airplane tickets to get down there, and I'm like, maybe there's some other places I should go check out. So we'll see. In any case, development is on the way, and 2030 we'll have a new place to fly into. Remind me, Siri, 6 years. Cool. All right, good. Moving on. That's it for our Thaiger news stories, guys, dealing with Thailand. Now we'll be moving on to the ASEAN stories, excuse me, where first we are going to be heading to Indonesia. We got a freak accident, people, and this has been going a little viral around the world because of just how rare and insane this story is. So, a surfer has died after being impaled by a swordfish in Indonesia. Freak accident, huh? Tributes have been paid to Giulia Manfrini, a 36-year-old surfer from Turin, Italy, who tragically died after being impaled by a swordfish while surfing in Indonesia's Mentawai Islands. Witnesses tried to provide first aid before she was taken to a medical center, but despite their efforts, she couldn't be saved. The freak accident occurred when a swordfish unexpectedly struck her in the chest. Manfrini, who co-founded a travel agency, was remembered for her passion for surfing and her infectious enthusiasm for life. Swordfish attacks are rare, but they can be dangerous if provoked. Not sure if this was provoked, but poor girl. People remembering her were saying, look, she was doing what she loved. At least there's that. At the end of the day, though, good God, this is not something you would expect to take you out. A shark attack, something like that, maybe even, but certainly Swordfish is a new one for the old Fear Factor book over here. Hearts go out. It's an unfortunate incident, but just to let you guys know, it can be dangerous in those waters, man. I would argue that this kind of thing, you're more likely to be struck by lightning, obviously, but when something like this happens, it certainly captures the imagination in all the worst ways. Heart goes out to her and her family, and again, at least she was doing what she loved, is a small consolation that can be had. On to the next story, where we are in Malaysia. Now, I've been covering the story for a few weeks now, and I'm happy to give you more updates because Malaysia has charged another 22 members of Islamic group for organized crime. So this has to do with the child trafficking that's been happening over there. In Malaysia, 22 members of the Islamic business group Global Ikhwan Services and Business Holdings, or GISB, including its CEO Nasiruddin Muhammad Ali, were charged with organized crime. The charges follow the rescue of over 500 children from GISB-linked welfare homes, where many were believed to have been sexually abused. GISB, linked to the banned Al-Arqam sect, is also under investigation for human trafficking and money laundering. The group faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Authorities have frozen GISB's bank accounts, and the case has sparked outrage, highlighting concerns over child protection and welfare monitoring. Yuck. Good to know that even more arrests are being made. 500 children have been rescued so far. Now, the big deal about this is that GISB is able to operate in many different countries. So the trafficking has not just been in Malaysia. God only knows where else this is happening across the Middle East and other countries in Southeast Asia. The authorities of Malaysia are working with Interpol to try and keep a track down on, you got to follow the money, right? So a lot of the bank accounts have been frozen. Check where the transactions have been, right? You don't human traffic without also moving money around. So that's going to be a story that we're going to keep following over here and give you more updates as we get more, because it is certainly the full focus of attention over in Malaysia. And we hope that an end can be done. More children can be rescued, hopefully, because I don't think we're at the end of this one, unfortunately. We'll see. All right. Teddy Bear says mega crime. And Black Tie says this is a real tragedy indeed. It's a tragedy, but also, it's a good story because I guess the authorities have finally put an end to it, at least the operations in Malaysia, really cracking down and saving all of those kids. That's at least a consolation, something happy. Obviously, they'll be dealing with trauma for the rest of their lives, but at the same time, they'll be able to live a life, which might not have been a possibility should those crimes have been allowed to continue. So, good news, and hopefully there will be better news as more people are arrested in connection to that one. Moving on, let's head over to, we're in the Philippines now, and actually Greater Southeast Asia, as Tropical Storm Trami has brought floods and fatalities to the Philippines, unfortunately. Tropical Storm Trami has caused at least 7 deaths and forced over 30,000 people to evacuate in the Philippines by yesterday, October 23rd, as it approached its landfall, getting worse today. The storm has brought heavy rain and severe flooding, particularly in the Bicol region, where rescue efforts are being hindered by unexpectedly high floodwaters. The Philippine Weather Agency, PAGASA, reported that Trami has intensified into a severe tropical storm and is expected to make landfall on Luzon, the country's largest island, by this morning. So this is obviously the Philippines gets ravaged by tropical storms throughout the hurricane season, the tropical storm season, typhoon season. Sorry. Used to my Florida lingo, and unfortunately here we go again. This is not the first one that they've had to deal with, and certainly will not be the last. Hopefully might be for this season that they might be able to get through it, but it seems like, you know, a country like the Philippines is still struggling with development, and so many of the people that live in the areas that are struck hardest by this are dealing with poor infrastructure, poor building materials for their homes, and this is what leads to so much tragedy, right? The floods rise quickly, the homes get blown away, and people get swept out to sea, entire villages sometimes. So I'm not sure how the Philippines government, like, you know, there's so much infighting when it comes to the leadership in the Philippines about stupid stuff, in my opinion, that a lot of this stuff, which really matters, really affects tons of people, cause billions of dollars of damage, really needs to be addressed. So hopefully the leadership over there can get their acts together and find ways to make it easier to deal with this extreme weather, which is coming, and they know it every single year. Anyways, heart goes out to the Philippines people affected by that. And also, that storm is coming if you're in Taiwan or if you're in Hong Kong, other parts, Vietnam as well. Batten down the hatches, everybody, because it's not over yet. All right, I'm going to end with a happy story today, all right? And it's about, well, I guess it's about perspective, whether or not you like more crocodiles in the world, because I do. Why not? I'm a wildlife fan. A Siamese crocodile is making a comeback in Cambodia as that country sees progress in its conservation efforts. The critically endangered Siamese crocodile is making a comeback in Cambodia thanks to conservation efforts by Fauna and Flora, an organization. Once thought extinct due to overhunting for their skins, a small wild population was discovered in the Cardamom Mountains in 2000. Conservationists launched a breeding program in 2011 to revive the species, identifying purebreds from farms and releasing them into the wild. By 2012, crocodiles were reintroduced, and breeding in the wild has begun. Efforts focus on habitat protection in the Cardamom Mountains, a crucial rainforest to ensure the crocodile's survival. Challenges remain, but progress is being made. Love to hear it, right? Like, humans, obviously, the cause of the extinction of, you know, most animals that go extinct. You hear about, like, stories in the last 100 years, something like, I don't know, a very large percentage of the species of the world have just gone extinct, right? So it's nice to see that the actual efforts of humans can be turning those things around, like actually making it go the other way. So the conservation efforts, obviously we know about pandas, rhinos in the Middle East. You got, Muding here in Thailand with the pygmy hippos, part of an endangered species. So nice to see that human efforts can actually make an impact, and these species can again thrive in the wild, not just in captivity. So kudos to the Flora and Fauna organization over in Cambodia. Congratulations on your efforts. Gotta love it. All right, let me wrap up the show really quickly, then I'll get into the comments, everybody. That'll do it for our news stories from around Thailand today, guys. You can go to thetiger.com for more news updates throughout the day. We post like 50 or so articles, more than that. We got our content team constantly churning out new stuff to keep you updated throughout the day. Also, you can head over to ASEANnow.com, sign up for a membership. It's free. No need to pay anything, and join the conversation over there. If you like hanging out in the chat with me here at YouTube, I think you'll like the conversation that happens over at ASEANnow.com as well. All right, that'll do it for the show. Let me get into the comments and say some goodbyes. All right, cool.